Now you may notice that the picture behind me now, with some great cunning of mine by slightly tilting my camera a certain way, the picture, or rather canvas I should say, of Mike Tyson smashing Trevor Berbick should actually look a bit stable now and not wonky. Now, in other news, Dillian Whyte recently knocking out Derek Chisora. In the wake of that, he got into something of a verbal altercation with Anthony Joshua, where Joshua said something along the lines of, "I basically don't want to hear any boos if a rematch gets made between myself and Dillian Whyte." And he kind of said that because he knows we don't really want to see this fight. Not the fans who are a little bit clued up and know what's going on. We're going over all ground here. Now the marks and the casuals will push for it. They'll try and justify it. And in a way, maybe there's no other opponent there for the date that's already been booked. But we know the score. Anthony Joshua under Robert McCracken has improved. Not massively, but notably. He fights a bit neater. He fights at more disciplined distances. He works the jab more. He's more conservative. He's basically harder to beat now. Whereas Dillian Whyte, whatever improvements he's got, and I'm all ears in terms of if you want to detail exactly what they are, he seems to have a shorter left hook. He's still sloppy. He's still got poor balance. He's still hittable, which is a bad thing to have about you if you're going to fight Anthony Joshua. Now, because Eddie Hearn always spams Wembley now, it seems, with AJ, it's kind of like cheapens it. And we don't always need it for these fights. I thought even against Povetkin, it turned out to be a good fight which justified the pay-per-view. But Povetkin going in there on paper was 39. A drugs cheat, was it twice failed of a drugs cheat? These aren't really the credentials of having this big Wembley situation. And they won't really for Whyte too either. AJ is going to line him up and take him out, if that fight goes ahead. Now, I'd much prefer it if these guys fought more consistently, more often. We could downsize and it wouldn't be a tragedy doing so. Maybe go to O2 or somewhere else. And if he was to fight someone like a Luis Ortiz, who hasn't got long left. And in terms of talent, Ortiz is probably the only guy within touching distance of the top 3 heavyweights in the world, because there's a massive gulf between the top 3 and everyone else. And people kind of know that with a Dillian Whyte rematch. Now, I think that Tyson Fury is probably going to get the rematch with Deontay Wilder, despite what reservations they have about going over to the States again and possibly getting screwed. I think they're going to go along with it. The money's there, and the fight itself just makes sense. And then if the winner of that were to fight Anthony Joshua, then I could kind of pardon, like later in 2019, then I could pardon the Whyte-Joshua rematch. But if it does go ahead, Joshua Whyte too, expect it to be clinical from AJ.